Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back in lecture number 15. Our today's topic is almost similar with our previous topic that was about Mudaraba. We are studying Islamic modes of financing, and in this lecture we are going to discuss some situations, particularly about the profit distribution situations. And the importance of the topic is just that we should repeat it and we make our understanding more and more better, clear and clearer. And the summary of previous lecture, although it's the same lecture, but I will let you know. In our previous lecture, we studied the features of Mudaraba, nature of the contract, that is, what is kind of nature when the two partners they join together to make a partnership, and the nature of capital also, which is the most important part of this contract, and the management of the Mudaraba. So the management, because it's the responsibility of one of the partners, which is the entrepreneur or the manager, and then profit and loss sharing mechanism, as it is clear that in Islamic financial system, profit and loss mechanism is totally different than that of conventional economic system. So we will study the details and the different situations also where the profit distribution or the allocation of profit can be possible under different circumstances. And then the termination of Mudaraba, how a Mudaraba contract can be cancelled or terminated. And the collective Mudaraba, running Mudaraba, the idea is that there are so many fund managers, and this topic we will study under the Islamic investment funds as well, that the fund managers, they announce the funds for a particular transaction and they ask for investment from the investors, and the investors, they subscribe for those funds. They pay a price for a certificate to become partner into that fund, and the fund managers as Mudarib, they operate that fund and they generate profits for the Mudaraba, and this profit is distributed proportionately according under the agreement. And the learning outcomes of today's lecture is that after this lecture you should be able to understand the relationship of profit and loss distribution under different situations. So this is those situations we will be discussing in this lecture. So first of all, let me again introduce you the Mudaraba. This is a kind of partnership between the two partners wherein one partner provides capital, the other partner provides managerial resources. So we have studied in the factors of production that monetary sources are the consumed inputs. They will be converted into capital inputs or the factor inputs, and the human resources, they are also taken as factor input. So the capital provider who provides cash, or it may be in any kind, the capital can be any kind, so that capital and the human resource both are factor inputs. Then they start a Mudaraba or a business. They become partner into that. So one partner provides capital, although initially it is in the form of money or the paper currency, but it is converted into capital, into factor input. So that factor input, and then the human resources, that is also a factor input. So both factor inputs, they join together to form a Mudaraba. So that makes the basis of profit sharing distribution. Otherwise, it might sound strange that one partner provides capital, the other partner provides human factor or the labor, and still they can share the profits in a higher proportions. And the investment comes from one of the partners, which is known as Rabbul Mal, and the manager is known as Mudarib. And then there are a number of features for the governing of Mudaraba. For example, nature of the contract, capital, management of the Mudaraba, profit and loss sharing mechanism. So first of all, we will discuss the nature of the Mudaraba contract. So generally, Mudaraba contract allows the partners to withdraw from the contract unilaterally, and however, this contract cannot be terminated because any venture that takes place may be for a particular time period or it may be for a specific venture. And when that specific project is finished, the Mudaraba contract automatically finishes. and before that unilaterally you cannot withdraw if it is for a specific time period. But if it is not mentioned in the contract that this Mudarba is going to end on such and such time, then at any time by serving the due notice, any of the partners, they can withdraw from this contract. Now, one of the most important features of Mudarba and Musharaka contract is the capital. So, what kind of capital is eligible to be contributed, how it should be contributed. So, these details we will discuss in this feature of Mudarba contract. The capital shall be contributed by the capital provider and shall be managed by the manager to generate income. And the capital of Mudarba may be in the form of monetary or non-monetary sources. So the Mudarba capital can be in any kind. It may be in monetary terms, that a cash is contributed and later on cash is converted into capital. Some raw materials may be purchased, some commodities can be purchased, some machinery can be purchased, some vehicle or any asset can be purchased with that monetary resources. And it can be in the capital equipment form as well. It may be in the form of a building, it may be in the form of a house, it may be in the form of a vehicle or any nature of asset that can also be contributed in the capital of Mudarba. And monetary assets of different currencies shall be valued according to an agreed currency at the time of signing the Mudarba contract. Particularly when a fund is being managed by any financial institution, and such kind of details we will be studying later on. And the idea is that the Islamic financial institutions and the conventional financial institutions, they announce funds for a particular kind of business. For example, it may be for a Mudarba fund. If the Islamic financial institution is issuing such kind of fund, it may be a Musharaka fund, it may be an Ijara, Murabha, Salam, Istisna, any type of fund. So the idea is that a pool of fund is created and the detail of fund is mentioned in the prospectus of that fund. And the investors from all over the world, they are invited to invest into these funds. So there is an attraction for the investors that these are Sharia compliant funds and people from all around the world, they can invest into such type of funds. And the fund managers, they act as Mudarib. So the Islamic financial institution, their role is as of Mudarib. And these are the capital providers. You may call them as Rabbul Mal. And these people, they may be living in different parts of the world. Maybe this investor is living in Pakistan, this investor is living in UAE, this investor maybe is living in USA, and others may be living in other parts of the world. So each of them, they will contribute in different currencies. So they will subscribe into the funds and they will purchase the funds in with different currencies. But it will be mentioned in the prospectus that all the currencies will be converted into one currency, and on that particular day when they subscribe into that fund, the contribution will be converted into that currency, and that will determine the contribution of each partner. And when the financial institutions, they operate some international funds, normally they use US dollar as their standard currency, because US dollar is widely accepted and more than 60% of the world trade is being conducted in US dollar, and the demand for dollar is never ending. So that's why most of the investors, they have their trust in this type of currency. Otherwise, if the fund managers, they announce the currency as the standard, if it is Pak Rupee, maybe many of the investors, they avoid to invest into such type of fund because they fear that rupee might depreciate and the value might go down. So in that case, a currency which has the credibility around the world, that currency is taken as a standard. So this illustration is again explaining the same concept. And that standardized currency will remain the same throughout the Mudarba fund, throughout that contract period. And the capital in the form of non-monetary assets, for example, the vehicle, the building, or any equipment, which may include intangible assets, shall be valued based on the valuation determined by a third party or as agreed upon by the contracting parties at the time of contract. Now the contribution can be in the monetary terms, it can be in the form of tangible assets, but it can be in the form of non-tangible assets. When we say non-monetary assets, it may be in the form of patents, brand names, trademarks, things like that. Value of monetary assets is determined, and the value of non-monetary assets, of the tangible and intangible or non-tangible assets, it will be, their price will be determined, and a third party services can be hired or as per agreement between the capital provider and the mudarib. And then non-monetary mudarba capital contributed may be redeemed at its original value invested, should it be possible, or otherwise its residual market value upon termination or expiry of the contract. Now the contribution can be in the monetary terms and in the non-monetary terms. In non-monetary terms, if the tangible assets are contributed, suppose a building is contributed in the capital or some vehicles are contributed in the as capital, so their value at the time of contribution and their value at the time of expiry of that contract will be different. So it can be agreed that at the time of expiry of the contract, what value should be agreed. If it is agreed that at the time of contribution their value will remain the same even at the end, so their value at the time of contribution will be taken as their value at the end of the contract. But in most cases, it is taken as the market value of the assets at the expiry of the contract. So this illustration explains that 5 buses, they were contributed as mudarba capital, and their value at the time of contribution was rupees 10 million. And based on the prevailing market value, and the company should manage the operations of these buses. Upon termination of the contract, mudarba capital may be valued at its original value. Original value is the 10 million or the residual market value as per agreement in the contract. So residual market value will not be same as that of the original value. So the residual market value will be determined at the time of expiry of the contract. Maybe the contract is for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or maybe even longer period. So at that time, the market value naturally would be less because the asset has been used and depreciation has taken place. So both of these possibilities can be agreed in the terms and conditions between the capital provider and the mudarib. And the debts such as accounts receivable or loans due to a capital provider don't qualify as capital for mudarba. And this is same in case of musharaka as well, that any debt claims which are the receivables, they can't become part of capital in case of musharaka and mudarba. And the agreed capital shall be made available to the manager to commence the business activities. So when a capital is agreed, so that capital should be provided to the mudarib as per agreement. And if it is agreed that capital will be provided before the business starts, then it should be provided before the business starts. And if it is agreed that on different stages of the business, capital will be issued, so it should be issued according to the terms and conditions mentioned in the agreement. So in mudarba contract, there can be another condition that the capital provider may withdraw his or her capital during the contract period gradually. So the withdrawal of capital can take place in 2 forms. One is that the capital provider may sell its share, his or her share, to a third party, or the mudarib can also purchase the share of the capital provider. So in that case, when the mudarib purchases the share of the capital provider, so gradually they become partners, because both of the partners, they have their capital into that business. And the capital can be withdrawn by selling the share to a third party and by selling the share to the mudarib as well. Now when the terms and conditions have been agreed and the capital should be provided according to the agreement, and the capital provider fails to provide capital as per agreement, so in that case this is a breach of promise and it may lead towards the termination or cancellation of the mudarba contract. But both the parties, they can agree on the existing conditions. For example, a part of capital has been provided and the capital provider failed to provide the remaining capital which was promised. So in that case, they both can agree on some new terms and conditions with the contributed capital. If the mudarib agrees to operate with the contributed capital, partially contributed capital, then they can enter into some new terms and conditions and they can continue the Mudarba contract. And when the agreement is terminated, so in that case, the capital of the capital provider, that is the Rabbul Mal, should be paid back to the Rabbul Mal. So this is, and the capital is outstanding and it is due from the Mudarib. Mudarib must return that capital. But if the liabilities of the business, of that Mudarba business, are more than the capital provided by the Rabbul Mal, in that case Rabbul Mal is only liable to the limit that capital has been provided by the Rabbul Mal. And if something is left, that is liability on the Mudarib to pay it back to the Rabbul Mal or the capital provider. And upon liquidation or maturity of the Mudarba contract, that is the Mudarba which was designed for a specific project, that project has been completed, or if it was for a specific time period, that time period has been finished. So in that case, the liquidation will take place if there are certain tangible assets they have been purchased by Mudarba, they will be liquidated, and the outstanding capital that is due to the capital provider will be paid to the capital provider. And any outstanding capital, including the share of profit, shall be deemed as debt due to the capital provider. So this will be kind of debt and it will be paid back by the Mudarib, not only the capital contribution but any profit which is also due and that is also a liability or as a debt on the Mudarib. And the manager shall not guarantee the Mudarba capital. So this is one of the important points, and we have discussed it in the later slides, in the later topics as well, that nobody can guarantee the Mudarba capital contribution. But in certain cases, we have seen that governments are considering them as a third party. They provide guarantee in such kind of entrepreneurial activities, just to promote the entrepreneurial activities or to promote the businesses or to motivate the people to engage into business activities. The governments, they provide such type of guarantees that the capital, they are guaranteed. You invest into a business and if you suffer capital loss, that capital loss will be compensated by the government as a third party. But there has been some observations, some objections, there is a controversy, you may say, that government is a trustee of public fund. The government is a trustee of public fund and government is having the funds contributed by all the taxpayers. It's a public fund. And how come government, being trustee of the other people's fund, can use that fund to guarantee the losses of some business entities or some people? So this is objected and it doesn't seem moral. And then the capital provider may require the manager to arrange for an independent third party performance guarantee. And then the capital provider, because he or she is facing the maximum risk, or the Islamic financial institution is facing the risk here, so they may ask for some guarantee, the performance guarantee of the manager, that the manager will be working according to the spirit of that Mudarba. And the guarantee shall be executed as a separate contract and be utilized to cover for any loss or depletion of capital in the event of misconduct, negligence or dishonesty, fraud or breach of terms or the contract by the manager. So under these circumstances, where the misconduct, negligence, dishonesty, fraud, breach of terms of the contract, if they can take place, that means the manager has some other intentions. Manager is not committed towards the activities of Mudarba or to the operations of Mudarba. The objectives or the intentions of the manager are maybe to fraud or to cheat, something like that. So in that case, the Islamic financial institution or the capital providers may ask for the guarantee of the performance of manager, and the guarantor will compensate any loss if it is due to these reasons. And the Mudarba capital will be used only for the Sharia compliant activities. So the Mudarba capital which has been contributed by the Rabbul Mal, the core business activity should be some Sharia compliant activity. The Mudarba capital may not be used to finance any haram activity. It may not be used to produce anything which is against the Sharia permissions, which is non-compliant, like alcoholic drinks, narcotics, and maybe some other immoral businesses. And the manager or Mudarib will have the exclusive right to manage the contract. Now the manager is the person who is managing all these funds, and nobody, even the capital provider, can dictate him or her to do this and to do that. However, the capital provider has the right to information regarding the conduct of the business of the manager. But the capital provider can only monitor the operations, can observe that manager is performing well. Otherwise, they can't interrupt the manager, they can't have any say into the operations of the business. And the manager can be held liable if any loss that is the outcome of any negligence or any misconduct or a breach of terms and conditions of the contract. So in this case, manager can be held liable. Otherwise, if the loss is out of natural course of business, so in that case, manager is not liable and all the loss will be borne by the capital provider. Mudarba can be of two types. Although the fund providers, the capital providers, they don't interrupt or they don't dictate the manager to do this and to do that, but still they can restrict the Mudarib that the business will be operated under such and such circumstances and under these conditions. So these conditions can be like that the Mudarib, the Rabbul Mal may identify the location that the Mudarba business will operate only in Islamabad, maybe, or maybe only in such and such market in Islamabad or in any part where the Mudarba should be operated. And then the period of investment, it can also be dictated by the Rabbul Mal or the capital provider. This is also kind of restriction that Mudarba capital will be withdrawn after such and such time period. And then the type of the project, that what business will be conducted. Maybe the capital should be invested in some real estate, or should be invested in some trading activities, or it should be invested in some manufacturing activities, things like that. And commingling of funds. So the Rabbul Mal has the authority to allow or not to allow the manager to introduce more investments into that business, maybe from the Mudarib side or from any third party. If the capital provider allows that, only then Mudarib or the manager can introduce capital or can inject capital from himself or from herself or from any third party. But these conditions should not nullify or neutralize the objective of that Mudarba business. For example, if the nature of the business suggests that the business should be operated in Karachi, but the Mudarib is dictated or the capital provider restrict the Mudarib to operate it somewhere in Lahore or in Islamabad, it will kill the objective of that business. So accordingly, if the Mudarba business requires some longer time period, maybe 2 to 3 years, but the capital provider restrict the Mudarib to finish the Mudarba contract within 1 year, so this will only nullify or neutralize the objective of that Mudarba. So these things should be taken care while signing a restricted Mudarba. And there is an unrestricted Mudarba where the Rabbul Mal or the capital provider gives the full freedom to the Mudarib that wherever he or she wants to operate the Mudarba or for how much time they want to operate the Mudarba and in what business they want to operate the Mudarba, this is all decided by the Mudarib. But the Mudarib is not authorized to keep an other Mudarib or a partner. So in this case, although this is not restricted Mudarib is allowed to do whatever steps deemed necessary for that business, but they are not allowed, the Mudarib is not allowed to keep an other Mudarib. For example, the funds are transferred to the Mudarib, then Mudarib may enter into another contract that is also a Mudarba contract with being the capital provider with some other entrepreneur. So this is not allowed, and it can be allowed but with the consent of the capital provider. And also Mudarib is not allowed to mix his or her own investment into that particular Mudarba without the consent of the Rabbul Mal. So again, Mudarib under no circumstances is allowed to mix the other's fund or even his or her own fund into the Mudarba operations, but a prior approval or the consent of the Rabbul Mal should be required here, and if the Rabbul Mal allows, only then the other funds or other investments can be introduced into the Mudarba fund. And the nature of the contract suggests that it is a single-tiered mudarba or it's a multi-tiered mudarba. We have the example that in banks we have deposits. In Islamic financial institutions particularly, the deposits, they come from different depositors. Maybe depositor A, depositor B, C, and countless. So all these are capital providers, and this is the fund created by the capital providers into the bank. Now the bank is the manager. And the relationship between the bank and these depositors is the first tier mudarba or the single tiered mudarba. So these are the capital providers and the bank is mudarib. And on the other hand, when bank enters into contract with the clients on the basis of mudarba, now bank becomes the capital provider. Now there are multiple tiered mudarbas. This is a second tier of mudarba. And if bank allows their clients to enter into another mudarba contract, then there will be maybe a third tiered mudarba. So these are the multi-tiered mudarbas, and this figure will further elaborate it that first of all, bank has a relationship with these depositors. As I explained earlier, the depositors from different parts of the country or from different parts of the world maybe, they deposit their funds into the bank, and they are the Rabbul Mal. They are the Rabbul Mal, and bank acts as mudarib in this case. And this fund is invested into with different clients, and different investments are made. Maybe based on the musharka, it may be an ijara investment. Like this investment, maybe we call it a musharka investment. Maybe this one is a mudarba investment. This is for ijara purpose. This may be for on the basis of murabha, and so on. The other ones may be for the salam, istisna, or any mode of investment. So in this case, when the bank enters into any other mudarba contract, so it may not be only a single mudarba contract. There may be multiple clients, countless clients, and with many of those clients, the bank enters into mudarba contract. So this is, here the bank becomes the Rabbul Mal. When the bank becomes Rabbul Mal and the clients, they become the mudarib here. So these are the example of two-tiered mudarba. Now the profits, they are derived from all these investments, maybe from musharka, mudarba, ijara, murabha, and maybe the bank invests into some real estate, bank may invest into some stocks, equity investment, and the incomes, they are derived, maybe losses, they are also result of those investments, and then bank adds them up all. There might be some deductions as well in case of loss, and the total profits, they are then added up, and the share of bank is determined. Suppose the bank deducts about, let's say, 20%, and 80% is divided in between the bank and the depositors. But before that, out of this income which is derived from the mudarba or musharka, the bank has his share. Suppose in case of mudarba investment, bank has a share of, the mudarib has 30% and bank has 70%. So then this 70% is distributed in the form of 20% and 80% between the depositors and the bank. So this chart elaborates the example of multi-tiered mudarba or two-tiered mudarba, and this tier can further continue. For example, when the investment in the form of mudarba is provided to any mudarib, that mudarib now that mudarib further assumes the role of Rabbul Mal, and if the bank allows, they may enter into another mudarba contract with that will be a third tier of mudarib. So these multi-tiered mudarbas are possible, but with the consent of the Rabbul Mal. So this illustration will further elaborate the idea of multi-tiered mudarba, that A Mudarba capital fund subscribed by investors specified that the fund is to be proportionately invested 30% in Sharia approved equities, 30% in skooks, and 40% in real estate. So the fund manager, they ask for funds from the investors, and in the prospectus they have mentioned that all the funds which are deposited or contributed by the Rabbul Mals or the capital providers, those funds will be invested 30% in the stocks which are the Sharia approved stocks, and then 30% in skook and 40% in real estate. And they have a portfolio of investment in the real estate, in the skooks, and in the Sharia approved equities. Now there are three types of relationship when the bank appoints manager for each kind of investment. For example, first of all, the capital providers, which are the subscribers from all over the world or maybe from different parts of the country, they contribute in a pool of fund. And then the fund manager, they appoint three different managers to engage into all these activities. For example, 30% in Sharia approved funds, a manager is hired. Now there is a relationship of there is a Mudarba contract between the fund manager and the manager here, which will manage the investment into the stocks. And then again there is a Mudarba contract between the fund manager and the manager, which will invest into skooks, 30% into skook. And then another Mudarba contract with the manager who will invest into real estate, 40% of the fund. So then we have first Mudarba here, and this is the second tiered Mudarba, or we may call it the multi-tiered Mudarba. So these are the examples, and profits will be derived and they will be shared between the managers and the fund manager. And then from all these activities, profits will be shared, and the profits will accumulate from different investment activities. Now according to the prospectus, according to the agreement, the profit sharing ratio will be mentioned on it, and these profits will be shared again between the fund manager and the capital providers. And another important thing is that the fund managers, they operate funds which are contributed by different capital providers. And those capital providers, they have a relationship of a partnership. They have a kind of musharka, and according to their capital contribution, they will share in the profits. And according to their capital contribution, they will share in the losses as well. Now the distribution of profit and loss. It is necessary for the validity of Mudarba that the parties agree right at the beginning on the definite proportion of actual profit which each one of them is entitled. So as it is mentioned in the Musharka contract as well, and also in this Mudarba contract, that profit sharing ratio will be agreed at the time of contract, and they can share the profit as per their agreement at any ratio, irrespective of their capital contribution. However, in the case the parties have entered into Mudarba without mentioning the exact proportion of the profit, so it will be presumed that they will share the profit in equal ratios. And if in the contract it is not mentioned that what is the share of manager and what will be the share of capital provider, in that case it will be assumed that both will have 50% each. They will share the profits equally. And some incentives may be given to the Mudarib, but just to make sure that Mudarib will operate with full spirit, with full commitment, and some incentives may also be given. For example, if the profit goes above such and such level, from the above limit, the whole of the profit might be given to the Mudarib, and there might be some percentage that can be associated with that extra profit. So these examples we will be discussing in the later part. Then, apart from the agreed proportion of the profit, the Mudarib cannot claim any periodical salary or a fee or a remuneration for the work done by him on that behalf of Mudarba contract. When a share has been announced between the parties, that 50% each, for example. So in that case, no further profit can be associated to any of the partner. For example, any salary cannot be paid to the manager, or any percentage of the capital contribution cannot be promised that it must be paid to the capital provider. Then termination of Mudarba, as it was mentioned in the beginning, both the parties, they have the right to quit from this contract unilaterally, but if it is for a certain time period, or if it is for a specific project, in that case, they cannot quit unilaterally. And the termination of the Mudarba contract means that Mudarib cannot engage into further business activities on behalf of that Mudarba contract. They cannot make any purchases, or they can liquidate the existing assets. And then collective Mudarba. Collective Mudarba means a giant pool created by many investors and handed over to a single Mudarib, who is normally a juristic person. So again, the concept is same. Just we have discussed before that Mudarba fund is created by fund managers. But in this case, collective Mudarba means the group of friends or a group of people, they can create a pool of fund and they nominate a juristic person, an honest person, or a professional to manage those funds. And they have a relationship with the manager as that of Mudarib on the basis of Mudarba, but between themselves they are partners. All those people who contributed in that pool of fund, they are partners and they will have a contract of Musharka. But with the manager, they will have a contract based on Mudarba. And then there is running Mudarba, that a Mudarba business is going on and the people, they can come and contribute into that pool of fund, or they can purchase a share of the existing partners, and the partners into that Mudarba contract, they can leave out. For example, we had that collective Mudarba we discussed in the previous slide. So the partners into that pool of fund, they can sell their share to the existing partner, or they can sell their share to some third party as well. So when a Mudarba is running, in that case, people will come and people will go. They will invest and they will withdraw their investments. And the investors, they come in and go out at different dates. Profits are calculated on daily basis. And when the people, they are leaving on different dates, at that time, their profits will be determined by determining the profit of Mudarba on daily basis, such that at any day, if somebody leaves that contract or leaves that partnership, his or her share can be calculated based on the daily contribution or based on the daily profits. And redemption before maturity, if the assets of Mudarba are in illiquid form, an investor may redeem his share by selling it to the pool. And if the assets of a running Mudarba are in illiquid form, it means in some tangible form, so in that case, a partner may leave the contract by selling his share or her share to the existing partners or maybe to the third party. But if the assets are in liquid form, a provisional amount may be given to him subject to the final settlement. So at the time when they want to quit the contract, a provisional amount will be given, but later on the final settlement will take place. Now there are different illustrations elaborating all the discussion we had about this topic, and actually we discussed it same as that of our previous lecture. But just to make you clear about these situations, that under different situations we will distribute the profits differently. So here illustration is that lump sum profit share in Mudarba venture. A Mudarba agreement begins with a simple profit sharing ratio of 50-50. The capital provider further specifies that should the venture achieve a target profit above 100,000, the capital provider will keep the first 100,000 with the balance to be given to the manager during the contract period. And if the profit is 80,000, the profit share to the manager and capital provider each is rupees 40,000, that is based on 50% each. If the profit is 150,000, the profit share of the manager is 50,000 and the profit to the capital provider is 100,000. So in this illustration you can see that the incentive for the manager is that if the profits they go above 100,000, then any amount above 100,000 can be the share of the Mudarib. But if it is below 100,000, then it will be shared 50% each. For example, if the profits they are 80,000, they are shared based on 50% each. But if the profits they go beyond 100,000, so that 100,000 will be kept by the Rabbul Mal, and any balance above that, it will be the share of the Mudarib. Now it will be an incentive for the Mudarib to work hard and to earn as much as possible into this portion. And after leaving 100,000 for the manager, for the Rabbul Mal, the manager may earn another 100,000, or the manager may earn another 200,000. Now this is up to the manager how much he or she earns, and this is also possible. Now let's discuss the tiered profit sharing ratio, the case A. It's just that XYZ company entered into a Mudarba agreement valued at rupees 1 million of Mudarba capital with ABC Bank at an agreed profit sharing ratio of 40:60. So here XYZ company is Mudarib, and capital that has been provided by the ABC Bank, it is 1 million. And in the case A, it's just that in addition as an incentive for XYZ company, so in addition to this profit sharing ratio, as an incentive to the XYZ company, the manager of the ABC Bank stated that if the XYZ company could manage to generate a return of more than 15% of 1 million, then the excess of profit would be allocated solely to the XYZ company. And at the end of the year, XYZ company managed to generate a return of 21%, that is more than which was given as an incentive maximum. So under these circumstances, the distribution of the profit will be as follows. So the profit subject to profit sharing is 15% of the investment. So 15% of 1 million is 150,000. Now to determine the distributable profit, this we can multiply it with 15/21, or simply you can determine it by 50% of the capital provided. So this is 150,000. And this 150,000 will be divided as per profit sharing ratio agreed between the Mudarib and the capital provider. So that is 40% for the Mudarib, and also the profit which is more than 150,000, that is the share of Mudarib, because this was an incentive. So here 40% of 150,000 is 60,000, plus with any amount which exceeds 150,000, that is 210,000 actual earned minus the standard amount which was supposed to be shared, and then it is again 60,000. So 60,000 out of the profit share, 60,000 out of the profit share, and then 60,000 out of the incentive. So in total, the share of Mudarib goes to 120,000, whereas the share of the bank will be 60% of 150,000, or it makes equal to 90,000. So here, if you see, the share of Mudarib is 190,000, and share of the bank is 90,000. Whereas if this actual amount earned, if it has been distributed according to the ratio determined, that is 60% for the bank and 40% for the client, for the manager, so in that case 40% would make 84,000 and 60% would make 126,000. But just to give an incentive to the manager, the share of manager can be increased if it goes beyond a certain limit. And under the case B, in addition, ABC Bank stipulated that if XYZ company could manage to generate a return more than 15%, then rupees 10,000 of the excess profit would be for the ABC Bank and the remaining for the XYZ company. So at the end of the year, XYZ company managed to obtain a return of 21%. Hence, the distribution of profit would be as follows. So the distributable profit is 150,000, which is 15% of the capital invested, that is 1 million. Now, there is an incentive that anything above 150,000, out of that 10,000 will be kept by the bank and remaining will be the share of the Mudarib. So in this case, 60% of the 150,000 will be the share of bank plus 10,000 of the profit exceeding 150,000. Now the share of the bank is 90,000 plus 10,000, in total it makes 100,000. And the share of Mudarib, 40% of 150,000, and the balance of profit exceeding 15% that was distributed in, the balance was exceeding 60,000, and out of that 60,000, 10,000 has been allocated to the bank. So this 10,000 is deducted and it is paid to the bank, and the remaining, that is 50,000, goes to the Mudarib as his incentive share. So according to the Mudaraba agreement, the share is 60,000, but the incentive share is 50,000. So in total, the Mudarib earns 110,000. So Mudarib can be given some incentives just to promote or to motivate the Mudarib to earn more and more profits. And further elaborating the profit sharing arrangement based upon the performance, a Mudaraba fund is launched for investment in a portfolio of shares, sukuk, and property investments. We will study these things in the lecture that is coming later on under the risk, that the managers or the investors, they invest into different denominations of securities and they are known as portfolio investment, and the objective is to reduce the risk. So here the fund is invested into shares, sukuk, and property. On average, 15 to 20% return per annum is expected from such investment. The fund declared a profit sharing ratio of 90 and 10 between the investor and the fund manager, 90% for the Rabbul Mal and 10% for the manager. But if the yield is 20% or less for 1 year investment period, the ratio increases in favor of the manager to 80 to 20%. And if the yield exceeds 20% for the same period, the fund size is 100 million. The fund declares a profit sharing ratio of 90 to 10 between the investor and the fund manager if the yield is 20% or less for the 1 year investment period. So if the return is 20% or less, then the profit sharing ratio is 90% for the Rabbul Mal and 10% for the Mudarib. But if the returns increase, the returns exceed 20%, then the profit sharing ratio would be 80 to 20. That is 80% for the capital provider and 20% for the Mudarib. So in this case, this is kind of incentive that the share of the Mudarib can be increased if the profits go beyond a certain limit. And the size of investment is rupees 100 million. So the profits can be distributed under different scenario. For example, scenario 1 explains that if the total expected yield is 20%, how much total profit is shared with the investors. So if it is up to 20%, equal to 20% or less than that, it will be shared 90% and 10%. So the total profit distribution to investors should be 90% of rupees 20 million, which is the 20% of 100 million investment. And it is equal to rupees 18 million for the Rabbul Mal, and only 10% of this, that would be equal to 2 million for the Mudarib. And under the second scenario, if the total expected yield is 40%, now it has gone beyond 20%. Okay, so it is more than 20%. How much profit is earned by the manager? In this case, the profit sharing ratio will change to 80% for the Rabbul Mal and 20% for the capital provider. So in this case, share of the Mudarib will increase to 20% instead of 10%, and the share would be rupees 8 million. And the profit sharing arrangement based on investment tenure. So for the investment tenure, that is in the first year, second year, and third year, we can associate, or the performance can be associated for different years. A Mudarba venture is set up between three capital providers and a venture manager who is tasked to manage the business. There are three capital providers. They have created a pool of fund, and in between themselves they are partners based on a Musharaka contract, and they have hired a manager. They did not hire, sorry, they appointed a manager as a Mudarib. So then the venture begins with the profit sharing arrangements of 70% for the capital provider, 30% for the Rabbul Mal, for the Mudarib for the first 3 years, where the manager will receive 30% of the net profit. Should the venture remains viable thereafter, the profit sharing ratio shall revert to 60% for the Rabbul Mal and 40% for the Mudarib. And if the Mudarba contract can continue after the 3rd year, then the profit share of the Mudarib will increase to 40% from 30%. And then profit determination of the period upon sale of equity claims and dissolution. And under these, there are 3 different scenarios. Let's discuss them. A Mudarba investment fund valued at rupees 100 million. The Mudarba capital is 100 million, which is provided by the capital provider. Declared 80% and 20% profit sharing between the investor and the manager. That is for the capital provider or the Rabbul Mal, and 20% for the Mudarib or the manager. So the scenario 1 explains that if the investment declares profit on periodic basis and reported a total fund yield of 10%, investors' profit share is 8 million for the year. And if the returns expected they are 10% of this investment, then it means there will be 10 million returns. So out of 10 million, 80% goes to the capital provider. And the second scenario explains that if at the end of the year 2, based on the net asset value of the investment, fund is sold to third party for rupees 120 million, investors' share of the gain in disposal of the investment is 16 million. Now, if at the end, in the second year, if the Mudarba fund or the capital is sold for rupees 120 million, so now the 20 million is the capital profit. That profit will also be distributed according to the agreed ratio. So here again 20 million is the profit, capital profit. Out of it, 80% will be the share of capital provider. It makes equal to 16 million. And the third scenario says that upon maturity of the investment period, the net asset value of the investment is 150 million. The investor's share of the net proceeds of the dissolution includes rupees 40 million profit in addition to the refund of capital of rupees 100 million. So the fund that was invested, it will be recovered by the investors, and then the 50 million is the capital profit. So in this case, capital gain will be distributed again on the basis of 80 to 20% ratio. So here 80% of 50 million rupees will make 40 million, and the share of the investors would be 140 million, and 10 million will be the share of manager. And the profit distribution arrangement on a multi-tiered Mudarba venture, when there is an arrangement of multi-tiered Mudarba, that is the first Mudarba between the capital provider and the manager, then the manager becomes the Rabbul Mal, and then the second contract. So under these circumstances, how the profits can be distributed? A 1-year restricted Mudarba fund is fund of rupees 500,000 rupees with a profit sharing ratio of 80% and 20% between the Rabbul Mal and Mudarib. And with this fund, the Islamic financial institution provides 1-year project financing based on Mudarba with an agreed profit sharing ratio of 70% and 30% between the Islamic financial institution and the customer. So here there are 2 scenarios, that in the first case, bank and the capital provider, they have an arrangement of profit sharing of 80% and 20%. Now bank uses this capital to invest under the arrangement of Mudarba and appoints any manager or entrepreneur to look after this venture. So the profit sharing ratio between the bank and then that final Mudarib is 70% for the bank and 30% for that Mudarib. And at the end of the year, a profit of 300,000 rupees is recorded from the project. The profit is distributed as follows. The profit can be distributed like that. Now the profits will be distributed like this is the profit, and it will be distributed between the Islamic financial institution and the Mudarib. And 70% for the Islamic financial institution, which makes it to 210,000, and the manager will earn 30%, and it makes to 90,000. Now this share will be distributed in the second year of Mudarba contract, that is the second year Mudarba between the original investors, or maybe we call them the depositors into the bank, into different kind of accounts, or maybe the subscribers of Mudarba funds. And those funds, they are being operated by the financial institutions. Now the financial institution out of this profit will earn 20%, and 80% will go towards the investors. So 80% of 210,000 will be shared to the Rabul Mal, or the initial capital providers. So these are the two arrangements of the multi-tiered Mudarba. That is, in the first tier and in the second tier, these are the arrangements of profit sharing. And in case of loss adjustment, there can be different scenarios. Scenario A is just that after the conclusion of Mudarba contract, part of the inventory purchased with Mudarba financing was destroyed by floods. So in this case, when there was a Mudarba contract between the investor and between the Rabul Mal and the Mudarib, and the Mudarba assets were destroyed by flood, which is beyond the control of anybody. And the partners assessed that damage by flood around 40% of capital impairment. And the immediate loss is borne by the capital provider, and the financing arrangement was terminated. So this kind of loss is borne by the capital provider. But if this loss was a result of any negligence, then a compensation can be recovered from the manager. And in scenario B, during the period of Mudarba financing, capital employed to finance the business resulted in 10% loss of capital at the end of one reporting period. Both partners agreed that the reported loss is carried forward to the next period, which subsequently reported 40% return on original capital. At the end of the financing period, 30% return on capital is distributable between the partners. So under this arrangement, if the assets of the Mudarba or the capital of the Mudarba suffers a 10% loss, and this is due to the natural course of the business, during the natural operations of the business. So this 10%, if both the partners, they agree to carry forward it to the next year, so in that case, the profits of the next year, that is the capital profit, the value appreciation in the assets. So it is assumed here that there is 40% increase in the value of the assets. So then we can compensate the initial year's loss, that was 10%. So the next year's profit can be, that can be distributed between the partners, it can be 30%. So this is possible that first year's loss, it is out of the natural causes, and it can be carried forward to the next year. And the other possibility is that if the Mudarib doesn't agree to carry forward the loss to the next year, it would mean that that particular loss will be the loss of the capital providers. But for the next year, when there is 40% of the capital appreciation, that 40% will be distributed between the partners, Mudarib and Rabul Mal. And the scenario C suggests that a business is financed during a Mudarba financing facility. The business reported 30% profit over its capital in the previous reporting period. In current reporting period, the business resulted in 10% loss of the capital. Both partners agree that reported loss is set off against the previous reported profit. Because you need to keep in mind that capital loss and capital gain, they are only realized when the assets are sold. So this type of loss can only be recorded in the books, and first year we assumed that there was a 10% loss, second year there was a 40% appreciation in the assets, and the net capital gain was 30%, and this year again we assume that there is a 10% loss. So again, the partners, they can agree that we can accommodate this loss again with that capital appreciation. So these are the possibilities, and these possibilities require the consent of both the partners. And the termination of Mudarba contract, it can have different scenarios. For example, the mutual consent or breach of contract, breach of terms and conditions, negligence or misconduct on part of the Mudarib. So let's see what has been stated here. Mudarba financing for a period of 2 years provided by an Islamic financial institution to the customer is reviewed quarterly in terms of manager's compliance and performance of the fund. So the period of that contract is 2 years, and the performance of the Mudarib will be reviewed quarterly, that is every 3 months. And in the third quarter of the first year, it was found that performance of the fund exceeds expectations and additional financing was granted. So the performance was going good, and seeing the potential of that business, more investment was made and more investment were released into that operations. And the profit was distributed at the end of the first year, and approved capital remains outstanding in the second year. And then in the second quarter of the second year, the manager activities failed to observe the scope of the financing requirement and thus violated the conditions specified in the contract. And in the second year, while observing the performance of the manager, it was found that manager was involved into some negligences, misconduct or breach of the terms and condition. The customer appealed to ratify, and the financing period continued. And in this case, the Mudarib requested to continue the Mudarba. However, in the third quarter, capital is impaired as 50% of the fund is lost. Now, in the third quarter, the same practice continued, that the Mudarib could not perform up to the expectations, and there was a capital loss of 50%. As a result, the contract is voidable, and the Islamic financial institution has the right to rescind the contract and held the manager liable for any loss due to the violation of the contract. So this capital loss, when it resulted out of the performance of the manager, out of the negligence or breach of terms and conditions of the manager, so these losses can be calculated, and the losses can be compensated from the fund manager or the Mudarib. And in this lecture, we studied, or we saw some different situations where there can be incentives provided to the fund managers, or there are different situations where the profit sharing ratios can be updated, and under different circumstances, the capital losses, they can be carried forward with the mutual consent. And then if any negligence is found on part of manager or the Mudarib, the Mudarba contract can be discontinued, and the losses can also be recovered from the manager. So this was all for today's lecture. Inshallah, see you in the next lecture. Till then, Assalamu alaikum.